Okay, Cara and Lebo are joining. Cat.
The Catherine, which Catherine is that?
I think that was American Cat, but
No, there's
no.
Catherine
Oh, they
Carlton,
both,
but
yeah,
there's
there's Catherine. Yeah, they're two Catherines in the room.
right, but we have a Catherine who is going to become a member and a Catherine who is currently a member. So I do need to know which Catherine it is. If you could
It's
either,
me,
Yeah,
Cat
that's actually
Williams.
interesting. I
is
think
that
that's it.
It's
Yeah.
Cat Williams.
okay? Thank you, Kat.
Mm.
Appreciate it. Um,
You're going to have to start calling me by my AfrikaBurn name to differentiate soon.
Also, I just want to be clear. Is Tim here via AfrikaBurn Main or Bash here via AfrikaBurn Main?
It's Tim, and he's recording. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, but B is with you present, correct? Okay, great. Thank you.
Paul and
Um,
Faldina are coming in.
Great.
Bash.
Um, I know Kate usually joins with Isa. I just want to see if they are both present.
No, she's not with
No.
me.
Okay. One, two, three, four, five, six, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. All right, I can confirm that we have quorum. Alex, you're
Okay, great. Neither of those were members, so they're just more people coming into the room.
Cool. Shall we kick off then? Great. Okay. Let me right. Well, good evening, everybody. A very warm welcome to you from the not so warm UK. I'm very much looking forward to getting home in a couple of days, but I thought I'd recapture the spirit of this year's burn, a theme of which was out of the blue by being appropriately attired. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Mike Suss. I was a founder of AfrikaBurn and a co-founder, and I am also a Burning Man regional contact for South Africa, and I serve on the board of directors, and I will be chairing the meeting tonight. So welcome again. We have a quorum, and we are ready to get into the business of the meeting. So the first, or the second item on the agenda is just a run through of the members, a confirmation or resignation of existing members, including any sabbaticals. Michelle, I assume you can run us through that.
Yes, I can. Okay. I'll start with resignations. During the past year, we had resignations by Bradley Bard, as well as Jackie Wolfson. They both have transitioned to emeritus. We have the following members currently on sabbatical. Schieper de Bruin, I apologize for any mispronunciations, Cindy DeLundo, and Monique Scheiss. Isa has recently returned, and we're glad to see her here. So, the confirmation of the members, I'll start first with the list of the members and then the list of the members that are currently in attendance to give everybody an extra minute to join. So, our current members are Gulden Aktigan, Michelle Barrand, Sam Benzula, Kat Carlton, Timothy Doyle, Valdila Fletcher, Paul Fletcher, Maloba Kugomo, Brian Lang, Wayne McDermott, Kara Morris, Dion Nell, Alex Noble, Subhash Shah, Lorraine Tanner, Stephen Tu, Kate Turner, Robert Wyneck, B. West, and Catherine Williams. I'm just double checking to see if anybody has shown up in the last minute. But currently I have the following members in attendance: Michelle Barrand, Catherine Carlton, Timothy Doyle, Valdila Fletcher, Paul Fletcher, Maloba Kugomo, Brian Lang, Wayne McDermott, Kara Morris, Dion Nell, Alex Noble, Subhash Shah, B. West, Catherine Williams, Samantha Benzula, Lorraine Tanner, Isa Marquez. Is there anybody that I missed in terms of attendance? If so, I apologize. Great.
Alex, you are muted.
Oh, sorry, that was Rob Weinig has just come in as a member, so
Awesome.
we've got an extra member. Yeah.
Great. I've marked him as present.
Okay, well, we clearly have a quorum, so we can proceed. The next item is apologies and proxies, and the establishment of the quorum, which is already established. But any apologies and proxies to register?
Oh, I should have this information.
Is anybody here in possession of a proxy? If so, please raise your hand. I don't see any. And do we have any official apologies?
Don't think so. Yeah.
I don't believe so.
Okay, great.
Funnily enough, the proxy notice person is currently absent. So
All right. Well, we can proceed.
but we are good to proceed.
And yes, Alex?
Just a note from Bash saying, please check in the chat room for new members. So we do know we have. I know Sapo is here. We've got a few of our new members. Are there any more?
They do not become members until after this meeting, so we don't have to announce them, and they don't add or detract from quorum.
And then Bash, it will be minuted that they're here. There is an attendance register.
And a warm welcome to the new members, and thanks for attending the meeting. Okay, moving on then to the next item on the agenda, which is the confirmation of the minutes of the 2024 AGM. I'm not sure who's leading on this.
Yeah, well, I don't mind to confirm them. I shared them with the MEMSEC WhatsApp group, so a couple of us had a look, and I'm happy to approve those.
Okay, Alex, I'll take you as a proponent. Could we have 2 seconders, please?
I will second.
Thanks, Michelle, and might as well get one more for the record.
Kath Williams, thirding.
Thank you very much, Kath. Okay, then let's proceed to the next item on the agenda, which is directors. Confirmation or resignation of existing directors. I'm not sure.
Do you want me to take this?
Please, if you could, Michelle.
Sure, no problem. Okay. We have had a resignation, a required step down of 3 members. Mike Suss, who is our chair for this meeting, Samantha Benzula, and Jan Bester. I am pleased to announce that both Sam and Mike have been reelected to continue serving on the board.
Thank you,
We
Michelle.
will make announcements about the rest of the candidates as soon as all the candidates have been notified.
Okay, awesome. Thank you very much. And thank you very much to all for your faith in us, and we will continue to serve you as best as we can.
Do you need me to confirm who is currently standing and continues to stand on the board of directors?
If you could please just confirm the names of the current
Yes.
board, I'd appreciate that.
So our current EDs on the board are Lorraine Tanner and Dane Marison. Our EDs that are continuing are Nick Robenheimer, Sydney Mathabula, Conrad Middle, and Rajan Woodruff. And I apologize for any mispronunciations.
Thanks very much, Michelle. Okay. So then moving on to the next item on the agenda is the director's report. And for this, I'm going to hand over to Lorraine Tanner. Lorraine, you're on.
Thank you. Okay. The 2025 cycle began with a new intake for Hammer School, with a diverse group from across Cape Town, women and non-binary folk with ages spanning 4 decades, ranging from their early 20s to their mid-50s. The skills training program birthed by AfrikaBurn's Department of Public Works and run by former co-leads herded out of the retirement club got a bunch of people empowered using power tools to make art. Many org folk journeyed to the Tankwa in spring for a Bosparade on Valfontaine. We learned about the desert flora, we time walked ourselves into existential insignificance, and we transformed ourselves into a council of all beings with masks and costumes to gain some perspective. We got a sense of the varied life forms that live in and around our environment and that make up our greater rural community. We deliberated and debated and drove out to see what things really look, feel, and weather like in the environs of our ephemeral city in the off-season. The ebb and flow of our volunteer-powered governance found us voting in new members after a long hiatus and onboarding a second consecutive intake of candidates. The inaugural member chair handed over the baton to their successor. From desire lines to foundational steps, we ratified our strategic pathways: environment and regeneration, justice, equity, diversity and inclusion, and resource mobilization, plotting the waypoints towards our horizons. The 3 pathways envisioned, developed, and debated throughout the organization and in consultation with community members are cross-cutting. And they specifically ask of us to make our events and operations a reflection of the world we wish to cultivate, one where human activity restores and enhances the natural environment, to model our events, operations, and movements as a propeller of the world we are moving towards, one where who we are and how we are enhances social cohesion, and to make our movement self-replenishing, able to withstand shocks and unanticipated events. Concurrently, we are ever conscious that South Africa is the most unequal country in the world. The homestead, recently upgraded, was host to creative project leads in spring, and with some seed collection happening for future habitat restoration opportunities. Rise rose again with a supermoon. A renewed cohort were joined by burners from neighbouring Southern African countries. Streetopia came to life through dedicated volunteer days, art making, community partnerships, sound stages, stalls, street performances, rangers, Radio Free Tankwa, and the trusty silver cloud, hallmarks of our urban celebration. Some 4,000 plus came out to play on the streets of Observatory, and Hammer School staged a public art exhibition on the village green, concluding the training programme with certificate giving. In a hot, parched December, off the back of participating in local community days, Outreach mounted some basic training for the local Kariki Mensa in the Tankwa with Cart Horse Protection Association, and they made a short documentary of the experience. Notably, 2 Spark Grant funded projects in the 2025 cycle caught ablaze. Play Park catalysed a successful funding award through Helperdorp in Van Wyksdorp, in the Klein Karoo, and the Road to Wuppertal went on to win a Mountain Protection Award for the Best New Initiative as Walking the Tra-Tra in the Northern Cederberg. We successfully concluded the first Mapula Trust audit of activities on Kwakkerfontein and Valfontein. The art team experimented with directional granting, including intersecting, inspiring, and emerging awards alongside the general art making grant. New professional artists joined our network, which deepened the creative aesthetics and the landscape in the Binnenkring. Radical inclusion, 28% of our creative grant crews received intersecting grants, and the Anati program was oversubscribed. Over 200 tickets and grants were allocated. Mutant vehicles and theme camps increased in numbers, with the theme camp committee opening micro grants for this cycle for novel camp offerings and improvements for greater participation. DMV deepened their commitment to the environment with increased and a defined grant pot for cleaner vehicles. Fostering and following talents, the network and community's passion to create, construct, and collaborate knows no bounds. Critical Path began again, or did it ever actually stop? Our social media engagement has dropped by 11% since 2024, yet there's been a significant rise in chat app usage. Immediacy is acknowledged through the need for connection. Yet direct communication, newsletters, emails, proposals remain a firm favourite for info about the event. Along with the regular back and forth, the theme camp team engaged with approximately a quarter of registered theme camps to ensure that fundraisers, camp fee structures, and gifts towed the line of decommodification. This invisible year-round work stands on the front line of protecting our culture from exploitation, which in 2025 led to one camp being declined registration for plug-and-play concerns. It also involved intercepting an unregistered camp and the monitoring of 2 further unregistered camps that arrived to plug and play at site. Out of the blue, the community was 10,728 participants from 107 countries. Ticket data tells us we had more participants from the African continent than ever before, and still we comprise around 40% virgins. Radical self-reliance, anecdotally, a significant increase in self-serving erections was observed, with tent dry hirers arriving ready to hit the rebar in themselves. Communal effort, 1,073 event volunteers put 9,569 hours labour of love. Unfortunately, we are seeing a steady decline in volunteers, meaning a smaller pool of people doing more hours of community service. Each one teach one, and that's omnidirectional. The backbone of our civic well-being is also where knowledge exchange and skills transfer happens in spades. 12 trainings were held for sanctuary volunteers and 23 ranger trainings took place for the 2025 event. Participation on the ground in Tanquetown showed up as 174-ish mutant vehicles, 109 theme camps, 61 artworks, 18 burns, 17 performances, 11 roving artworks, and 8 Binnenkring events. Radical self-expression, 50% of artworks were returning pieces from previous events. That's a slight increase from 2024. And 94 theme camps were South African. That's 86%. Gifting food remains popular, with just under 40% of theme camps offering sustenance to keep the community nourished. The operational team felt the full power of the sun, going as renewable as we possibly could, a leap forward towards our goal of net positivity for our event operations, coming from the heart of the off-centre camp. Civic responsibility, our medical cluster saw a patient increase of 13%, with wound care the most common classification. And keeping with the feeding theme, Kitchen served up 8,904 meals to our various working teams. Somewhere between the epic titles of our collective main character syndrome, like Great Expectations and Sometimes a Great Notion, the citizens of Tanquetown were desperately seeking. For some it seemed a bit off, and for some it just wasn't right. There was definitely something seemingly amiss in our creative city. And then, suddenly, stealthily, during a witching hour mid-event, out of the inky blue, a large unexplained convoy rolled out, like clockworkish, to create. Come Thursday, those who were fraught and those who sought ought to have found, and on Sunday, Seeker Temple rang out its sound before burning to the ground. Leaving no trace, Of the 92 camps that signed out, only 2 didn't get a green rating. Yet conversely, of the 56 sign-outs that had no camp representatives present, only 8 received a green rating. Tragedy also struck before, during, and after the event this cycle. We unexpectedly lost former leaders of our tribe. It was a huge shock in our community. Shattered, requiring patience and grace, we regathered, recalibrated, and rebuilt. The thing we do in the desert is special and sacred for thousands. Navigating the threats to our culture is an enduring challenge. The passion of the community in play and creative endeavor can spill over, and this year was no exception. We are reminded again we are not a utopia, but we have the chance to invent and reinvent and renew. We have worked diligently to do better, improve our processes and systems in service and programs for the greater good. We are not perfect, we do not strive to be, but at least for the time being, we are still human. We close the cycle welcoming the return of decompression for AfrikaBurn's Creative Project's 18th birthday. And in closing this report, a poem by Maya Angelou that resonates with the balancing act we perform in service of the experiment. Seek patience and passion in equal amounts. Patience alone will not build the temple. Passion alone will destroy its walls.
Lars, thank you very much for that eloquent, informative, and entertaining report. I love your creativity. For those of you who are watching and don't perhaps know, Lorraine Tanner is our Executive Director of Development. And I will now open the floor to any questions or comments that anyone might have with regard to the Director's report. Would anyone like to ask anything or say anything at this point? Jonathan.
Hello everybody. As a insider, once now outsider, one of the things that has worried me about the new site is the lack of children and the lack of children themed camps. I don't know whether that came out of the reports and the reflections post event, but I'd really urge, I think children add immense value, not only to the mental health and the zeitgeists, but also to the overall kind of friendliness of the camp. So yeah, much love to you all.
Thanks, Jonathan. I think we have some statistics on the number of children that were there, and it was not that low as far as I know, but I will take Alex Marsh next.
Hi, everybody, and thanks, Loz. That was heartbreakingly beautiful. I have a question around like the innovation space because I've been to a few interesting symposiums and spaces related to like the water sector and obviously like the land sector. And there's some really interesting, very small ideas. And I have highlighted to some of those organizations that like AfrikaBurn is such a beautiful space for experimentation. Like we're a bunch of mad scientists and we have this really unique opportunity to trial different kinds of innovations related to restoration and wash and various other things. And I'm just wondering how open we are to like really seeking those kinds of partnerships, because I think we're uniquely placed for it. And I'd love to see us like being playful with science as well as with all the other things we're playful with.
Thanks, Alex. Lars, would you like to respond to either of those questions or comments?
About the children, we did make kids tickets free a couple of years ago. So we have certainly tried to remove barriers to families. I think there's been a few pushes to create like a kids space or a kids zone, but obviously that is reliant on community members stepping up to do that. So what we've tried to do is connect families so they can look at doing that. But obviously if things happen, people don't necessarily have the ability to attend. So yeah, so we feel that we are doing things from a kind of an organizational perspective, but it also would be great if community members could also get more on board with that. But there's certainly things that are quite clear to us, things like having an area where there's specific toilets that kids can use, so they're not kind of clambering over the alcohol bottles and stuff that people leave in the loos. So yeah, it is something that we are discussing and trying to push forward. In terms of the innovation stuff, I think, Alex, absolutely. I think we are open. I think what we've been trying to do is kind of like stop running the Red Queen's race in catching up with what we need to do to feel able to welcome in those kinds of innovation activities. And I'm hoping in the coming cycle that there will be an increase in capacity for us to be more kind of like welcoming and open. So yeah, I think anything that comes your way, please engage and send it our way, and we can do our best to move things forward.
Thanks very much. I see Dane has raised his hand.
Well, thanks, Mike. Yeah, just to maybe dovetail on what Laz brought forward, with us not charging ticket prices for children, we have seen, I mean, in the last cycle, it's without the data at hand now, but it was almost double the amount of children. And there was a theme camp or not a theme camp necessarily, but a camp that was set up to be sort of child friendly. I know that Lexi was also involved with sort of just connecting all those parents, where it was sort of a community activated space, together also with a minikron. We also did a little minikron, and I know DMV set that up in front of the camp. So there's definitely sort of a move towards making it safe and accessible for children, but it's definitely a work in progress. Ranger Bob. Yeah.
Cool. Thanks very much. Are there any other questions or comments? I see none. So let's move to the next item on the agenda, which is the presentation and approval of the 2025 financial year draft annual financial statements. And for this, I'm going to turn over to our Executive Director of Operations, Dane Marrison, who you just heard speaking. Anyway, over to you, Dane.
Cool. Thanks so much, Mike. Yeah, maybe just to also just a moment, just dovetail a little bit on what Laz brought forward. We obviously had some highlights and some challenges in the last cycle where we did sort of fell short of selling out of our anticipated Blue Sky tickets. And so we did work through, sort of cutting and saving through different portfolio budgets, just to ensure we still finished the financial year with a positive surplus, even though we had sort of budgeted for a considerable deficit in this last cycle. We did also keep general sales tickets the same price for 2 years, which also did contribute towards that. Areas where we did, find ourselves going under budget was with events expenses. That was about 1.5 million. We had budgeted for 500,000 for the airstrip construction, which wasn't actualized in the last financial cycle. There was 1 million rand with human costs, where there was just a few roles not recruited for, and there was 350,000 of contingency not utilized. So just quick few little exciting projects with the airstrip. We started construction in November, and that's just recently been completed with the first test flight happening on Saturday. I think it's just also just to note, appreciation for Mapula Trust there for the full funding for the construction of the airstrip. With Big Red, we installed our new bioreactor surge system that has been used to process all the human waste from the event. And as Lars mentioned, we managed to make great strides to go into solar to generate energy for main event operations. Then just leading into the financial update or the AFS, the ASA has completed the revised draft where Nexia and the board will meet in January before the final version is sent through, just along with the management report. So just to open up with our opening balance, we started the year with a bank balance of just over 20.8 million, where we closed off with 21.1 million. Our main event revenue was just below what was budgeted for at 35.5 million. Other income was a little bit over budget. There was 2 million, and most of that comes from the from our holding accounts with the interest earned on that money. Grants and donations was just over 340,000. So our gross income was just under the 38 million mark. With our expenses, our main event expenses came out at 17.2 million. Our operating costs at just over 2.5. Our Humans of AfrikaBurn was just over 13.1. Our programming costs was just over 440,000. Quagga expenses or farm expenses was just under the 840 mark. You can see it was just over budget there with the regeneration project that Lars mentioned. So our total expenses came out at just over 36.7 million. This obviously just gives a nice breakdown of where we can see those allocations coming through. So with operating cost, you can see most of those sort of expenses goes to vehicle repair and maintenance, rent, insurance, and all our CIA subscriptions. With our main event expenses, you can see the most consideration there goes to the creative, ops, medical, transport and logistics, and DPW. Then with programming and development, the sort of larger portion, there's Streetopia, Outreach, Rise, and Strategy and Development. Then with Quagga, it's obviously direct costs and site development and professional fees. So that was the barn renovations that was mentioned there. And yeah, that brings me to the end over there.
Dane, thank you very much. Are there any questions relating to the annual financial statements and annual report? I see none. Oh, Alex.
I see Alex. Oh.
Yeah, it's me.
Alex?
I guess, Mike, the only reason I'm still on these calls is to advocate for a reframing of investment in the land as like a cost that we're expending. I think that it's a responsibility that we are that we need to show up for. So I don't actually know how to say this in the right kind of way, but I really hope that we can internalize the cost and responsibility of being good stewards to the land, and find ways that we can fund it in our fiscus so that it doesn't seem like it's an expenditure it's something that it's a responsibility that we have. And that's another reason why I really think we need to have a management plan that explains this and really delineates the investment in the land that we do every year. Because yeah, I think that it's a framing that we need to adjust for in the way that we relate to our stewardship of Valfontaine and Kwakkelfontein. And I hope that we can have a bigger conversation about this and also find more budget items and how we can invest in restoration going forward for the land. I probably have more to say, but I've forgotten it. But thank you.
No problem, Alex. Dane, would you like to respond to that?
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe a challenge that we do face is, we all, let's say, meet annually at the Bosporat. And I think what came through that was the regeneration project and the seed collection program. And I think we, maybe just need to look at, meeting more frequently. I think, within a Landcom remit, we can set out, all those different strategies because, Alex, you're very right. As custodians of the land, we do have the responsibility there, but we also have the opportunity of experimenting, of looking at different technologies and sort of tapping into different networks. I do, sort of see that probably sitting within the Landcom membership sort of function and remit. So yeah, I'd look forward to sort of engaging in those different avenues. I don't know, Mike, if you want to add to that at all.
Yeah, thanks. Absolutely, Dane. And Alex, totally agree with your sentiments. There are still a few issues that we need to iron out, just in terms of our relationship with the title holder, and their role in this, and also just in terms of the sort of referring to expenses. Some of this is actually dictated by accounting policies and the sort of legal framing of how we report on these expenses. So it's not really our framing so much as when Dane was reporting back on the financial statements, that's simply how it is reported. But absolutely agree with your sentiments, and we clearly still have work to do. So thank you. Kuni, I see you have a question or a comment.
My question is, have all the members received the detailed copies of the financial statements? Just want to make sure, because what we've seen now is just extracts of the numbers. Have they received the exact copies of the financials?
Kuni, is that the detailed spreadsheet with the multiple pages? Is that what you're talking about?
No,
No.
Alex, I think Kuni's talking about the actual draft AFS. So we did go through editorial changes, I think it was a week ago. So the version that's been circulated was from the 2nd of this month. I think that's what Kuni is referring to.
Yeah, I'm referring to the financial statements that's effectively finalized, because it's important that members receive the final copy of the financial statements when they decide on the approval of these financial statements. So it's just important that we get the sequence right. So we cannot discuss the financial performance of AfrikaBurn if these numbers aren't final. So and the members have not seen the final financial statements. So I'd just like to get clarity on, because how can we expect people to approve on these financial statements, or if they have not seen it, if they have not seen the final set of, I'm not talking about a spreadsheet, I'm talking about the financial itself.
Michelle, could you respond, please?
So what has been procedure in the past is that we approve a draft version of the financial statements. The draft version, as it currently stands as of last Thursday, is in the members' drive, and all members do have access to that documentation. And I think, and what we approve in this meeting are those draft financial statements, which are as best as they can be prepared for this meeting. And then, but I think one step of practice that we have failed to do is once they are totally finalized, if there are any changes that are made, I think it would be of good governance for the EDO to send those with a kind of highlight of changes. So that way, at least the members can review those and address any questions as needed.
Thanks, Michelle. Our chair, Sam Benzala, has a comment, I think. Sam?
I think we aren't approving the draft today for two reasons. Because firstly, it was only made available to members on Thursday, which does not meet the statutory notice period. And secondly, the board has not had an opportunity to review the revisions in the new draft. We will be doing that in our first board meeting of the new year, which is on the 12th of January, whereafter if we are happy with everything, we will send it through to members for approval by an email channel. Thanks.
Okay, so just to clarify before I turn to Isa, then we will be sending out a remote request for approval once that final version is in. Is that correct? Yep. Thanks.
Yes.
Thanks for confirming, Sam. Isa.
I just wanted to briefly say that I don't have access to the documents that are on the agenda even. It might be because I'm not on the members alias right now. Please, so just a reminder, can you please put me back in so I can see?
No problem. MEMSEC will take care of that. We're glad to have you back, but we're behind the ball on that.
Thanks, Isa, and thanks, Michelle. Are there any other questions or comments?
Mike, there is a question in the chat box from a few minutes ago from Cara saying, what is the circular economy mentioned in the Kwaggafontein budget?
Dane, would you like to respond to that?
Ara, if I may get clarity, sorry, I'm just trying to read comments here. Which budget are you referring to?
Hey everyone, hey Dan.
How's it?
It was so when you had the circular graph when you were sharing your presentation on the last slide, there was a percentage that was allocated to circular economy, and I just was wondering if there's more detail around that.
Sure. So let's check back here. So for the circular economy, that would have been as part of the Big Red project and some solar work that was being done on Kwagga.
Thanks, Dane. Any further questions or comments? I see none. Then let's move forward to the next item on the agenda.
There is one from Jonathan.
Okay.
Jonathan, at the end, Jonathan, do you want to put your question to the table?
Yes, to the esteemed panel. As next year is the 18th event, is the event doing anything special to celebrate its coming of age, like going and buying a six-pack now that it's legal?
Thanks, Jono. I don't believe we've had that conversation yet, but I think it's an important one to have. So
Yeah, maybe you can all buy us a drink now that it's legal.
thank you. I think that's relevant. Okay. Next item on the agenda is item 8, which is the presentation and approval of the auditor's remuneration for the 2025 financial year and their proposal for the 2026 financial year. And I will hand back over to Dane.
Cool. Thanks so much, Mike. Let's open this up. So as everyone's aware, last year was our first year with Nexia. They did receive just over 81,000 for their fees. They have looked at reducing that fee for the next cycle at 74,800. The reason for that is, it was slightly more expensive just with the onboarding process and the mapping of the whole caseware files. And so, we do propose that Nexia remain our auditors for the next financial year. Is that Mike?
Yeah, Dane, nothing further you wish to add? Okay.
No.
So what we do require from this meeting is a proponent and a seconder to approve the auditors and their remuneration. And I'm not sure if we can do an all-in-one or if we need to do the two items separately. Can our folks?
We can do the two items together, and I will happily put my hand up to be the first proposer.
Thank you. So we've got Michelle proposing, and could we have 2 seconders, please?
I will second Dion, yeah.
Thank you, Dion. And
I will second as well.
Thank you very much, Kat. Okay. Right. We are now on to the any other business portion of the agenda. And does anybody have any other business that they would like to raise? Michelle.
I just want to bring to the attention that we have usually the membership deadline for candidate members is December 15th, but given the flurry of activity that members have been doing over the last month, MEMSAC decided to extend that application deadline so that way members can have an opportunity to recruit members of the community to join us on the membership. If you have anybody that you'd like to recommend, or if anybody who is watching this call via YouTube is interested in joining the AfrikaBurn governance, it is open to all members of the community. And all you have to do is reach out to memsec@afrikaburn.com, and we will provide you with the membership application and also a whole bunch of information about what you'll be going through as a candidate member. And then hopefully you have the opportunity to transition to a voting member immediately following this meeting next year.
Thanks very much for that, Michelle. And just to add to that, it has been raised from some quarters that our membership is underrepresentative of the community in certain respects, that there are certain sub-communities of the burner community that don't have sufficient representation on the membership. And I would just encourage us all to think about whose voices may be missing in the membership and to reach out to folks from those forgotten corners of the community and actively try to recruit them. So that's a plea to all you members to do that. Alex, I see your hand.
I would like to flag I think it's connected to what you said, Mike, around being members of the community, that like we've got neighbors now. And I don't know how much we've really leaned in to taking that seriously in terms of being stewards of the Tankwa with a range of people. So I flagged this before, but Sandparks colleagues of mine are very much interested in us exploring like a level of stewardship that would really enable good environmental management of the land we're stewarding because we have water. So there's an opportunity to partner with sandparks and find a way to do like really good environmental stuff. And I would love us to lead the way in that as membership. I feel as if it's incredibly important, not just because it's good for the environment, but also because we have to figure out how we are as neighbors. So I would ask that we have that kind of conversation in the near future. All the people who are relevant to it, I could bring to the table. They've asked for the conversation. So I don't know, like and I know that we have to figure out some of the legal stuff, which we've spoken about, Mike, but I really do feel as if we need to make some moves around what are we saying in terms of the environmental impact of AfrikaBurn, and make some decisions in the next year.
Alex, absolutely 100% agree with you. This is an issue very close to my heart as well, and it will be one that I'm sure we will prioritize in the forthcoming year. We could also try to find more environmentally active candidates in the community to join our membership, but I think we already have a few. There are other factions as well that perhaps are underrepresented. And anyway, I encourage us all to think about that. Are there any other questions or comments? I see none. If there aren't any, then that effectively closes the meeting. I'm going to put our chair, Sam, on the spot, and ask if she wishes to say anything in closing. Sam, you've been very quiet for most of the meeting.
Hi, listening closely and popping my voice in when I had something relevant to say. In closing out the meeting, I would just like to thank our team who hold the center for us and hold the center for our annual pilgrimage to the middle of the desert, our ephemeral city. I'd like to thank our EDs who stand behind our team and hold them up. I'd like to thank the board of directors that I've served with for the last 3 years. We also have a very important role to play, and the members who show up every month without fail at the couch calls to lean in on matters that are sometimes inspiring, sometimes complex and knotty. We are a big group of people who bring our hearts to this thing, and I would just like to make sure that everyone feels recognized, seen, and acknowledged. Thank you all for the work that you do.
Thanks very much, Sam. I think we've had a great year, and I think we have a lot to be proud of, and we still have a lot of work to do next year, but we are very much looking forward to it. Bring it on. And here's wishing you all happy holidays.
Absolutely. Thanks all.
Goodbye, friends.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Cheers.
Cheers, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Good night, all.
Bye. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.